Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Melbourne Machete Massacre. Yes, it's the report from Tiger Mountain. We're going to talk about machetes. Stick around and listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the machete problem here in Melbourne. And now, in a moment of deep philosophical thought, Jacinta Allan has sat down and she thought, well, how am I going to solve this problem, ladies and gentlemen? You know, you've got people out there on the street with machetes and hacking away at people in malls, gyms, smoke shops. What am I going to do? And it's like God. I think God might have gotten involved. His hand reached down from the heavens and placed the idea into her head that you're going to have bins, rubbish bins, where people can take their machetes. And obviously, everybody who's attacking people with machetes out there is going to think, hang on a minute, there's a bin. I mean, there's a bin specifically for machetes. Now I can just go and throw my machete away and be one with, with God and being and everything. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's problem solved pretty much, you know what I mean? As we all know, I mean, as soon as there's a special bin for machetes, that's it. The problem's over. Nothing more to worry about. Because anybody who was using a machete would instantly think, oh my God, there's a bin. They couldn't use a normal bin to throw away their machete if they wanted to. They couldn't just take it to a Brotherhood of St. Lawrence one and just chuck it in there if they were thinking of giving up the machete lifestyle. No, they need a special bin for their machetes, and you've got to go to a police station, which I'm sure these people who are criminals are quite happy to walk up with their machete and just chuck it in there. You know what I mean? So this is pure logic. Now, I mean, obviously there have been some people on the right, and probably myself included, who thought, well, maybe there is another idea. How about this? When people hack away at someone with a machete, maybe they chop an arm off or, seriously injure somebody or they're wielding one around, why don't you chuck them in jail? And, they go before the judge and he says, oh, hang on a minute, what's this stuff here? Chop someone's arm off with a friggin' machete. That's, I think, 5 years in jail. You're 14, 15. Okay, well, the juvenile detention or whatever the hell it is. That's the old-fashioned way. Obviously, that's no longer in fashion. The clear answer, anybody will tell you, is just to have a bin, a special bin, so that way the criminals will pretty much like Jacinta Allan, they'll be sitting at home with their machete laid out on their table, and like God will reach out and think, quickly, take it to the bin, and that will solve the problem, and that's the end of the problem. So machetes aren't a problem anymore. Obviously, machete crime is something new in Victoria, and I don't know where it comes from. It obviously has nothing to do with the fact that machetes are a regular, thing to be seen in Africa, where people are macheting each other over there for many, many years, ever since we gave them a machete, probably 100 years ago, 150 years ago. They've been murdering each other with that. Maybe we should chuck a few bins over there in Africa. Who knows? Maybe this idea is so good we could export it to Africa and solve the African machete problem, because obviously the problem we're now having with machetes has nothing to do with mass immigration and the fact that people are importing their desire to hack each other to death with machetes. So there we go. That's the report from Tiger Mountain this week. Obviously, the machete problem is now solved, and hallelujah.